Now it is.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Plan Commission study session for September 21st, 2022. Sergio, roll call, please.
Bob Brosen,
Here.
Yolanda Cardona,
Here.
John Gill,
Here.
Joe Gomestego is not here. Bob Valois,
Present.
Jason Vlasic. Here. John Kennedy,
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker,
Here.
Engineer Tom Nago. Here. Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak,
Present.
and Town Manager Joe Wizawati.
Present. Tom, congratulations, or my condolence, whichever way you want to take it right now, but congratulations on sitting in that hot seat. So, next on the agenda, we have the Parish Woods proposed final plat, 27 single-family residential lots at 11115 Parish Avenue. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Name for the record?
Please.
Ryan Fleming of representing 1110 LLC, address 219 North Main Street, Unit C of Crown Point, Indiana.
Any updates that we need to know about regarding Parish Woods? It's secondary or final plat, so.
Well, I met with Sergio a number of weeks ago, and it was his suggestion that I come by tonight so as to give as much of an update as I can as far as the status of the improvements, as we are hoping to be before you at the October meeting for the formal action on the secondary plat. At the moment, if you've driven by the site, we are actually should be staked for curbs today. So we are in a timeline where it looks like we should be done by the time that we would reach the October meeting. The only thing that is lagging behind, and this may be familiar to some of you, but lift stations in particular right now are having issues with some of their components. So we've been lagging behind on that one a little bit. And speaking with staff, it was my suggestion that if we are not fully installed with the lift station by that meeting, that we would provide the financial assurances. No problem doing it at that point in time. It's kind of a chip in the bucket compared to the money that we've put into the project. And we would work with staff, and of course the whomever from engineering at that point in time would be reviewing those numbers associated with what is left to make sure that we have the correct dollar amount to either post bond, letter of credit, or a cash deposit, depending on what the dollar amount is. So that was kind of our game plan. So that is a little bit of the update. As it stands, we think we're still going to be able to meet that objective timeline that I outlined to Sergio and that I've outlined again here tonight, so as to get this moving. One detail that's associated with the site that I've not articulated at any of the meetings but can now is that of the 27 lots, 18 are sold. So I have 3 custom home builders that have committed to different lot allocations, but 18 of the lots will be diversified over 3 custom home builders. And so we're motivated to get them to the closing table, and they're motivated to get to the closing table because the next thing then they will be trying to do is draw permits to build homes.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Comments?
Nope.
Just for your understanding, I rely on, well, Tom now to review the checklist to make sure we are provided a letter stating that, everything's in order for our approval. So please make sure you also work with Tom so he reviews the plans and make sure the final plat is ready for approval.
Coordinating with staff, so we'll make sure whoever needs to do whatever they need to do, we'll make sure that gets done, so by the time we see you again, those boxes are checked.
Perfect. Anything else for the good of the cause? All right, we will see you
Hopefully in October.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time.
One other, there has
Sure.
been no major significant change from the primary plat.
No,
Okay, very good.
it's pretty much spot on.
Okay,
Maybe some of the verbiage or language, but that's more of the semantics of making sure that we followed to the T what was on the checklist for the secondary plat.
just some of the addresses and things like that being taken care of.
Yeah, I think that's what was resolved today. I think we had those going back to November of last year, but didn't get that translated to the engineer to put into the CAD to get back to Sergio, so we got that taken care of.
Great. Very good. We'll see you in October.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Crop Industrial Proposed Development Site Plan for the ULOC Storage Facility at 10460 Joliet Street. We got Mr. Reddick. How are you, sir?
Good evening. Doug Reddick, DVG. Ken Drenth, the owner of the property, future owner of the property, is here as well.
Long time no see.
Been a couple days, right?
They're screening now. You see that?
So we're here for 41 ULOC. As we explained before, Mr. Drenth has a similar facility in Cherville. This would be a kind of a sister facility to what he already owns and operates out of Cherville. About 75,000 square feet of self-storage, totally unmanned, keypad entry, totally automated basically. We were in front of the BZA, as some of you know, Monday night, seeking a couple of variances. One was granted, one was deferred. That had a lot to do with a buffer between our property and a property to the northwest. The gentleman was here, had some concerns that he'd be able to see the property. We did receive a revised landscape plan. We did add a row of arborvitaes along at that northwest corner right there, which we believe will be an adequate buffer, certainly to help the situation. And the landscape architect was able to jump on that right away. I was a little unclear if we need to do anything else, John, along the front of the buildings. When we left the meeting, there was talk about additional landscaping in the front, but I wasn't real clear how we left that meeting.
If you know, just for the board, this board's understanding. So he asked for two waivers. The first waiver was parking. For every so many square feet under roof, you have to have parking. That waiver for no parking was approved. The other waiver they're asking for is screening along any other property that's of a different classification. So the property on the screen would be to the top, or the east is residential, and to the south, Three Springs. And so during the discussion in the BZA, a gentleman to the northwest commented, and then some of the board members just commented that, I think their current plan had met the subdivision control ordinance, but there was discussion that maybe some additional landscaping might be appropriate for a contingency of the waiver for the screening, especially to what we would say the east side. And then the petitioner was kind enough to address some of the concerns from a resident to the northwest, and Doug is right, the property wasn't adjacent, but so I guess for me, Doug, what would be nice is just if you could highlight what's additional on top of what exceeds our subdivision control ordinance on the plans, just so I have an understanding of how much additional, have you added 4 more trees, 5 more arborvitaes on that side, just so I can get a, understanding of what.
So what you see here, all we added so far is the stuff at the northwest corner.
Okay,
We haven't changed anything along the frontage.
okay.
And that's why I needed clarification. Want us to add additional? I was unclear on that.
Yeah, Monday when you were here for the BZA, and I suggested landscaping on the south side and north side, and you said there's so much vegetation on the south and north that it'll be blocked. And I think that's a true statement. If you're at Joliet Street looking north, yeah, you won't be able to see it. But I think as you farther you go north, you'll be able to see it. So I think there needs to be some more, especially on the south and north side. Just, you probably don't even need to go as much as you did on the east side. But I think there needs to be some more landscaping on the north and south side.
Along Hart Street.
No, along south of the buildings,
South of the buildings.
Yeah, I know there's 2 that we need.
maybe south of your
But I thought it'd be
detention
easier for them
pond,
if
somewhere,
we put it
I don't know,
in.
wherever you can fit them. South of here and then on the north side.
Because everything south of the retention pond is going to be left in its natural
And I
state.
understand that.
For the gate.
And, yeah, the farther you go north, I think you'll be able to see
Yeah,
these buildings.
but then you got the fence, so it's like you could have
If
to
you're real
wait.
far south, you won't be able to see them. I agree with you 100%
Yeah.
on that. But as you're approaching these buildings coming from the south going north, you're gonna be able to see them because you got grading work that you have to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Both the
So-
detention pond,
so
so
yours
that's
Was
all
a
gonna be
fence, I mean, so
disturbed.
you could
So
drive
you're
through.
seeing kind of by the southeast corner of the buildings. So when you're coming north on Hart Street, kind of buffer the corner, the south
Yep.
corner of the building. Likewise, coming from the north,
Yes,
maybe by our entrance drive.
yes.
Okay. I could relay that to the landscaper. That's what I need. I needed that clarification.
Yeah.
And Doug, for me, the east side looks well, and I sort of now hearing what Bob's saying, maybe hit that corner like you did the northwest side, maybe wrap the corner on the southeast side a little bit, maybe block that area.
I get it. Okay.
Now, Yolanda, you live in the subdivision to the south, so they're saying screening would be a 6-foot type of opaque fence, but, there's a lot of vegetation between, what is that, 101st? Joliet, I'm sorry, Joliet, to this site, so, I mean, we're adding some, but just want to make sure,
Yeah, I mean, I don't live anywhere near this area. I do live in Three Springs, but it's like the very
part,
last
okay.
house, yeah. But it makes sense. I mean, I get that there's vegetation. I mean, I pass through through Hart Street every day, and there is a lot of vegetation. But I think that, Doug has a point in terms of having having Doug specifically, purposefully put vegetation that would cover that, should the other part of the lot be developed and it not be the same as what we're seeing here. So I think it makes sense to specifically be purposeful in terms of putting something there to cover it.
Yeah, nothing south of that ditch is going to be developable.
Oh, is it the flood issue?
Yeah.
Right.
Floodway,
And
floodplain.
don't forget, we're putting a sidewalk along Joliet, and we are gonna put a few trees along the sidewalk just to enhance that. So it's not a buffer, if you will, but we are gonna enhance the frontage along Joliet Street and have the beginning of a sidewalk over there too.
And just an understanding of those, the landscaping along the east side of the building, how tall they will grow. Are they, because the building height is what, 10 feet, 12 feet?
No, it's no taller than that.
I mean, I don't want to, just,
I don't know the plannings well enough to answer your
Okay.
question, John, sorry.
No, that's,
I'm gonna be honest.
just have.
I'm an engineer.
We got 2 weeks
I'm an
to the
engineer,
next
not a
meeting,
landscape
so.
architect.
No, I was very appreciative how you addressed the landowner to the northwest, even though his property does not touch yours.
Yeah.
It-
No,
it
we
show-
appreciate
It
that.
shows,
Well, that's-
compromise,
that's
so we
Ken, that's
appreciate
not
that.
Me, so. So the other question that we would have is, since we got deferred for that variance, what happens at we already advertised for a public hearing for October 5th. The sign's posted, legal notices are out. So do we automatically get deferred because we don't have the variance? How are we gonna handle that?
I will defer to Sergio and Adam on that.
Can an approval be based contingent on approval from the variance? It can, so.
We could ask for contingent approval?
From the BZA.
Okay.
Almost like what we were gonna do
Yep.
Monday, contingent on this.
I know, I get it. I just wanna
Okay.
bring it up.
That's above my pay grade, that's why I'm asking those two gentlemen.
And I think I would ask for that if that's a consideration. We don't want to re-advertise. We want to have the public hearing, at least open the public hearing and, get that out of the way, and then we'll see
Yeah.
where it goes. But, and then we're making a couple tweaks to the engineering, very minor stuff, just to kind of wrap things up. So, any other questions?
I have a really small question, and I know that you've been granted the variance for the parking, right? Is there parking at all in this? Nothing planned?
So, quick summary is we believe the ordinance there's a typographical error, because it says we need one parking space for every 500 square feet of building. So 75,000 square feet divided by 500 is 150 parking spaces. You don't get 150 people a week coming to the facility. So there's something wrong. I think it meant 500 square feet of office area. So if you have a 2,000 or 2,500 square foot office, you need 4 or 5 parking spaces. Makes perfect sense. We don't even have an office. It's totally unmanned, totally gated, keypad entry. So people come up, they go to their storage locker, they leave. There's no office to park at, there's nowhere,
Sure.
there's no reason to park. So that's why that variance was sought out.
Okay.
And there's no outdoor storage at this
There's
facility.
no outdoor store, if everything's inside, how many visitors a day would you,
It varies. On weekends are busier. We can do anywhere from 5 to 15.
so it's just not a ton of traffic.
400 units at our shareable site. So it's not a high traffic business.
Any other questions before?
Yeah, I had one about, for fire suppression, would you guys be open to tapping into the water main that's on the west side of Hart and just extending it in and putting a hydrant between the gate and Building A on the site?
There are hydrants in front of the property. I mean, we could look at the
Yeah,
proximity.
my only concern though is with the fence, if you, typically when you pull up and there's a fire going, one guy gets off the truck, wraps the hydrant,
So
with the
you
hose.
want it in the property,
and then the truck yeah, so the truck can drive.
inside the fence?
Yeah, within, so they can go through the gate, stop, let the guy off the truck, he grabs the back of the hose, wraps around the hydrant, and you drive to the building that's on fire, and then hook up the hydrant to that, where if it was on Hart Street, you're gonna be dragging it around and bending the fence and damaging all the gate and.
Could you,
Please.
John, could you have that hydrant extended instead of making a new one? Make
Yeah, I
new
mean,
tap?
maybe if it's within the,
I don't think it's close enough, Bob, to the,
Close to the buildings? No? Okay.
You want it just at the gate, or do you want?
yeah, like where the curve straightens out by Building A.
So just outside the fence.
Well, no, I think inside the
Inside the
fence.
fence?
If they get through the gate, it looks like the gate's gonna be like right in the middle of that radius, kinda.
Yeah,
And then, like, between the gate and Building A, on that, I guess you'd call it east side along the fence there,
Okay.
so they can get through the gate,
Can
hit the
I-
hydrant, and drive to the building. Because
Looks
if they
like-
did it on Hart Street, then they'd have to navigate through the gate, then the gate's trying to close on the 5-inch charge line and all the other.
Is there a
problems that
hydrant
come-
just north of that entrance, or no?
I believe there is. Doesn't the main?
actually there
run-
is, yeah.
Would that suffice, or no? Did you see it?
he's trying to get it inside the
Oh,
gate, so
okay,
it's
I gotcha.
easier for the trucks and
Okay, gotcha,
firefighters.
gotcha.
There's one right here.
Okay.
It's fire hydrant.
The main runs all the way along here,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, well, actually, that's a pole, I believe. So I follow what you're saying, John, and I think he's asking for it to be, you don't care which side of the driveway it's on.
No, just as long as they can get through the gate, and then the gate can close behind them and do whatever until the next siren triggers it to open.
For turning,
Construction, yeah.
we could do that, right?
Yeah.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay.
And just to confirm, that gate will be accessible to emergency vehicles?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted
Yeah,
to
what we have currently in Cherville is chirp, it senses a siren, and will open. But we can get the fire department, police, their own access code also.
Anything? Going?
I got a quick question. So Doug, I'm not sure where you're at in the stage in your plans. How are you planning to address the floodplain being filled?
We are allowed to fill in the floodplain. There's no comp storage in St. John required. Not in the ordinance. And all the buildings will be over 2 foot above the base flood elevation. We are doing a little bit of fill in the floodplain, but it's allowable in the floodplain. We're not getting into the floodway.
I asked the same question yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
I know you're new, but I'm quite sure.
Three Springs. over
Okay,
there.
well, the part about no comp storage, I'm kind of surprised about, but I'll check it out. So I'm sure you're telling the.
A lot of
telling the
towns have
truth.
it, and you're familiar with that, but St. John does not.
Okay, and the floodway you're not touching,
No.
so. Okay, thank you.
Can we talk about the landscaping again, as far as that, I think you're talking about the
Mr.
south?
Drenth, can you just, I don't know if I've asked you to put, just for the record,
Oh,
say your
Ken,
name.
yeah, sorry, Ken Drenth, owner of Caincy Properties.
Thank you, sir.
You want to do something here?
Right. So there's gonna be, I mean, it's woods, it's not vegetation to the south. And we're not gonna clear, I mean, right now, I believe that vegetation is probably 15 feet off the street. And that's, I believe the town must be mowing it now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that buffer, of course, I don't wanna waste money doing plantings or have to put a solid fence, because I've mentioned before, I like the chain link fence for security reasons, that it can be seen through if there's any funny business going on. Yeah, if you maybe consider that, the woods to the south is gonna be a huge buffer, and anything I plant there, I don't think we're even gonna see. Would you agree with
I
that?
tend to agree.
Well, yeah, but if you look at the southeast corner of those buildings, you got contours, right? New proposed contours?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna
that's-
be elevated.
So it's gonna be disturbed, right? If you're
Yep.
putting in new contours, new grading, that's disturbed.
Okay.
So maybe just around the
Just a little
corner of
bit
that
here.
corner building.
I follow.
And
what
maybe towards,
you're saying. On the slope.
Yeah.
and we'll have your
disturbed.
landscape architect sort of lay it out for us.
No, okay.
Well, again, we still have to provide, they're talking about enhancing the landscape plan just
I
a little
see.
bit,
Okay.
which is a requirement.
Okay.
Jeez, Pete.
We're good.
Right? All good? Good with the
Very
cause?
much.
Tom, anything? Anyone going? All right, see you in October.
See you soon.
All right.
Last on the agenda, we have proposed preliminary replat and a request for final replat of a two-lot subdivision at 8735 Silver Maple Cove. Mr. Kill, how are you, sir?
Good. How's everybody doing?
Very well.
Steve Kill, 14400 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake. Everybody's got the plan in front of them. We have a big lot sitting there in the cul-de-sac that was for one of the owners to build on in the gates of St. John. That gentleman has passed away, so therefore obviously he's not building on it any longer. So we just want to re-subdivide it into two same-size lots as we have, in that Sterling Gate section of the gates. Meets all the requirements of the covenants, meets the annexation agreement, meets all the requirements, so it's kind of a simple thing. All the engineering's done, all the tension's in. So it's just a matter of subdividing that one very large lot into two lots.
I think you answered my question. I know every unit had a certain number of residential units per pod, so the addition of this one extra lot does not affect that pod number and the number of residents in the PUD. Okay. Any other questions?
And obviously, we don't have much left in the gates there. It's nearly completely built out.
And so, same situation, the checklist with staff, make sure we'll get a letter in hand for the board to read for the October, don't know the exact date, but October meeting.
Yeah, I know we're scheduled for a public hearing there. I would ask the planning commission to suspend the rules and do a primary and secondary. There's really not much to this request. It's
Understand.
more paperwork than anything. I mean, there's really no engineering to review. I'm not sure, Tom, but not exactly sure what you would do. I mean, it's all the tension of streets in, curbs are in, everything's
We
in.
have done it
yeah.
at other residential where we split a lot or we made it one larger lot.
Sure.
So, but we will let you know in October.
Yeah, and if there's something I need ahead of time, please let me know. So anybody just send me an email or whatever, but
Okay.
make sure you get it.
Yeah, I would just keep on coordinating with Sergio and staff here.
Yeah, if there's anything you need, please let me know.
Awesome.
Hey, Steve, are the water and sanitary taps done on both lots or just one water and sanitary tap on one lot?
I believe there's probably one. We'll have to do, we'll have to put
Another
another
set.
tap in, obviously, but
Okay.
like I said, we contemplated, it was Bruce Boomsma, who passed away, so.
Going? Anyone? Questions? Questions? All right. See you in October, sir.